Hey everybody, how's it going? This is gonna be just a real quick video. I'm getting ready to go to bed so I can get up on time to get running tomorrow. My first settlement pay stub, I guess if you want to call it, from last week, which was my first week driving with this company. It showed up, and I just kind of wanted to go over it with you guys in case anybody might be curious as to how it looks. Again, in case you didn't see the last video, I am a lease op on a dedicated account with Hirschbach. And yeah, so what you're seeing now, these are screenshots. I wanted to be able to kind of go through them and kind of highlight certain things here. So of course, here's just the top of it. It'll show your, whoops, that got all kind of messed up. Let me make that a little bit smaller. You get total compensation here. So in total, last week I made $2,921.99. Reimbursements here, as you can see, there was none. And that's just stuff like lumber fees, trailer washouts, things like that. I'll go ahead and get rid of those. Total deductions, so these are my expenses, truck payments, operating costs, things like that. So total for last week was $1,671.74, which left me with $1,250.25 for take home. Of course, that does not include taxes. Being a lease op, they don't take taxes out. That's on me. But that is what I got paid after all my expenses. Oops. So going down here, this is the breakdown showing you exactly where you're getting your pay from. So these top three here are for the loads that I ran last week. I had a little bit of downtime last week because I had to go get my door fixed. But yeah, so you'll see you got your empty miles, loaded miles, and total miles here, and then it just runs down, going for however many loads you might have done. The RPM here, that is the rate per mile, or how much you're actually getting paid per mile. And just like with the loaded empty miles, it goes all the way down. And then over here at the end, it'll show you how much you actually got paid for that load. Okay. I don't know why they didn't put just an eraser on this thing. Down here at the very bottom, because I'm undedicated, we get guaranteed pay. It'll just say adjustment. These will always be empty because it's just a guarantee. So what they'll do is they add in the adjustment so it kind of balances out. So I'll always end up getting about the same every week, 12 to 1,300. So you can see they added $1,833.17 for the week. And going down here, kind of the same thing. It's just showing the totals up there. So your total trip pay that you got, in my case, or if you're dedicated to be in your case too, your guaranteed pay, and then the totals. And again, no reimbursements for that week. Sorry about that. My wife texted me. And then here we have the fun part, all the expenses. So, license for the lease purchase, plates for truck, I'm paying $44 a week. These two here, with the $14.75, those are weight scale tickets. I got my insurance at $26.08. The actual cost of the lease for the tractor, or truck, however you want to call it, I'm paying $835 for that. Loss damage waiver at $209. Fuel and use tax offset at $39.48. $11 for the lease purchase. Another scale charge. The pre-pass cost is $2. Lease completion, they took $937 for that. Bobtail insurance, $762. When I got with the company, I did not have an LLC set up. If you decide to come to Hirschbach as lease up and you already have an LLC, you will not have this. This is just they fronted the cost to get my LLC set up, and they're taking $55.50 out of each check until it's paid back. And at the bottom here, you see my full service maintenance. It's 10 cents per mile. They took $131.60 out. Going over here, I couldn't get it all in one screenshot, so we just talked about the full service maintenance here. The escrow fund, they take $50 out until that account hits $2,000, and then that will stop. And that is just money that will sit there. If something happens, you end up not being able to work for a week, it'll cover your lease payment here. And then my total fuel cost for last week, $206.84. That's that 99-cent fuel plan coming into effect. I am absolutely loving that. Anyway, and then down at the bottom, you got your total expenses, $1,671.74. So the only thing this does not include, or the only thing that obviously won't show up on the settlement, is anything you pay for out of pocket for the truck. So there are some other expenses that obviously are not going to be listed on here. Just stuff that you might need. If you don't already have a microwave to put in it, you might have to go out and get a microwave. Or a fridge or something if the truck doesn't have one, so you can store your food. At Hirschbach, I believe I talked about this in my last video, they do include a fridge with all their trucks, as well as TVs, so you don't got to worry about that. And things like food and whatnot with Hirschbach, they partner with another company that we as lease operators can pay $28.50, I believe, out of our checks for, and they handle all the tax side of things for us. So we just send in the receipts for the stuff we buy. We get per diem for the food and whatnot. But if you wanted to get say floor mats or something, obviously that's not going to be on here, so that's another thing you'd want to, when you're doing your financials, you want to take that into account, just so you're not, getting through and at the very end you're looking and say, okay, there's money missing here, money missing here. Keep track of the stuff you're buying. Keep track of your receipts, keep track of your amounts. That way you can look at your financials at the end of each week or month, or however you decide to do it, if you decide to go lease up, and know exactly where your money's going, how much you're getting in, and where your profit's coming in at. So all things, whoops, I forgot to turn that off. All things considered, out of, not that, one more, my bad. So out of the $1,250.25 that I actually got paid this week, I am taking the $250 out and putting it up to prep for taxes, just in case I do end up having to pay anything in. So really I'm bringing just the $1,000 home. I'm not worried about that 25 cents. In all honesty, it's not really going to do much. I'm just going to lump the 25 cents in with the $200 that I took out for the taxes, or $250, my bad. So at the end of the week, in all reality, this is what I'm bringing home after my expenses, after trying to somewhat account for taxes. Which, for only doing 3 runs, I don't think is really that bad. I know you're going to have the drivers out there, oh, you can go do this and make 5 times that, and blah, 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 blah. I don't care. I don't want to hear it. This is plenty enough for me to get by on every week. pay my bills. It'll keep me on the road. It'll keep my family fed. That's all I need. Maybe that ain't for you. Hey, to each their own. You know, I'm sure other different companies out there or whatever that'll pay more or offer more or whatever. But the whole reason I wanted to do this as dedicated was the stability that comes with it, because I know no matter what, at the end of the week, you know, if I have a really bad week and I only do 2 runs that week because they're really slow for whatever, I'm still gonna get this right here, or close to that right there. Well, in all reality, it should be close to this number over here, but accounting for taxes, should be close to this, and that's plenty enough for me to get by on. And there are a few, not many, there are a few things to take into consideration too. Is a lot of the costs in here will change week to week. So stuff like the tractor lease, that'll be the same every single week. One week you might have more scale charges. You might have less. Moving down here, the full service maintenance, like I said, that is 10 cents per mile with Hirschbach. So the more miles you run, the bigger this number is going to be that they will take out to go towards your maintenance plan. Fuel, same way. Yeah, it's nice. We only pay 99 cents as long as we're at an in-network fuel stop, which is, Love's, Pilot, Flying J, things like, the big ones pretty much. We get 99 cents off a gallon. 99 cents per gallon, not off. We pay basically $1 per gallon of fuel. Again, that's a variable cost. It's almost never going to be the same each week. Might be close, but it's not going to be the exact same every week. And it's just another thing to keep in mind when you're going through and trying to figure out the financials of doing this. But stuff like your pre-pass scales here at $2, that'll mostly stay the same, I believe. Actually, I'm pretty sure that's just $2 a week for that. That covers your pre-pass, I believe that also covers tolls as well. Most of these are going to be fixed expenses. The tractor lease, the fuel use offset tax, pre-pass, lease completion, I think goes off of cents per mile. I need to review my lease agreement, but I'm pretty sure that goes off of a certain cents per mile. And then some of these expenses also will go away after so long. So the driver LLC setup, the $55.50, that'll go away after they get their money back. The escrow fund, once it hits $2,000, they'll stop taking the money out for that. Stuff like the license for the lease purchase, that's pretty much going to stay the same, as far as I understand it. The OCC, ACC insurance, again, $26.08. That's, I believe, going to stay about the same. And yeah, that's really pretty much it. Of course, this, except in my case, I'll pretty much always get the guaranteed pay unless something happens and I can't make it out for my full 6 days. That will be on my check, or if you're dedicated, you would see it on yours too. This up here, where it shows your loads, obviously that could change. You might get a really good week one week, and you're able to get a lot of miles in, or you might have a really crappy week and you only get 2 or 3 runs in, like I did. But yeah, pretty much from. And again, this is only my first check stub, so I can't speak for myself. I have talked to a few of our other drivers who were kind enough to go over their check stubs with me, and they kind of, showed me, 1, 2, 3 weeks back. Mostly, from what I've seen, the deductions for them stayed about the same, give or take 100 to 150. So for most of the drivers, this number did not change that much. So, but you know, again, that's kind of one of those things. It really just all depends on what you're doing. Your fixed costs are always going to be there, but your variables, like how many, you know, if you have to scale a load a lot, or it's a really long load, you got to, you know, it's going to take you a while to get it to where it's got to go, and you got to fuel up constantly. So this right here, oops, turned it off. Your deductions are obviously going to change. From what I've seen from other drivers being kind enough to go over their pay stubs with me, being as I am new to this company and how they break down their pay stubs. Sorry, dry mouth. But based on what I saw there, this number pretty much hovered around the same mark for them. Now, most of them, I want to point out, were OTR and not dedicated. And most of their expenses hovered right around the $2,000 mark each week. However, they were still bringing home, not including taxes, about the same here. Anywhere from the lowest I saw when I was looking at them was 11. The highest I saw was $1,300 to $1,400 after their deductions. So, I mean, there's definitely money to be made. You just gotta be smart about it, really, like most things in life, and especially when it comes to money. Know what you're spending, know what you're making, and at the end of the day, and really, you know, especially in my case, at the end of the day, I'm trying to get my business started to try to hopefully get, you know, a little bit of financial freedom for my family in the long run. And so far, you know, if I can keep bringing home, after putting money up for taxes, $1,000 a week, I'd be happy with that, because that's plenty enough for me to get by on. May not be for you, maybe plenty enough for you to get by on. Everybody's different, but that's just how it is. I am talking way too freaking much. I'm rambling. Sorry. Anyway, yeah, just wanted to kind of go over that in case anybody was interested. I haven't actually checked the first video to see if anybody's watched that. I don't know. I really don't care if anybody watches these or not. I like making them. I like trying to... Whoops. Sorry about that. I just like making videos, and hey, if someone does watch it and it helps them out, cool. But that'll do for now. I'm going to bed. We'll see you guys next one.